1930. All right, we are on record for our second regular review, first permanency planning goal. I'll say for the record, I've had a brief sidebar with the attorneys, and it looks like we're going to be looking at placement also today. And it sounds like there's a good plan. So I can't wait to hear about that more after appearances.
Your Honor, Lee Heiss, lawyer guardian ad litem. I believe the child is available on Zoom and maybe in the waiting room too.
Okay, well, there's nobody left in the waiting room. So
Okay.
You're here, you're here.
Ms. Tasha Thomas, counsel for the department. Ms. McVeigh.
Heidi McVeigh from the department.
Michael Brooks, I am the attorney for Dustin Lewis, the father. Dustin Lewis, the father.
Michael McFarland, representing mother. Please introduce yourself.
Sarah Lewis, mother. All right, counselors, any comments about our sidebar before we get started?
Your Honor, my comment would be, I had a conversation with my client. At this point in time, she would support the goal of a guardianship of a child effectively not living with them. We have no problem with the court recognizing that, which is called removal. We realize that, but what it means, the child is now living with somebody else, and she supports that. As they're going through some kind of tough times and reorganizing, and it's circumstances beyond their control that lead them here, but that's what our discussion was, and we would not be objectionable to the court placing the child where she currently is officially, and then moving forward with the goal of a guardianship, and we could explore the type.
My understanding is my client is of the same mind.
I think that accurately covers the sidebar.
Very good. I look forward to your comments, Ms. Heiss.
Thank you, Your Honor. The agency, Ms. McVeigh, has been very available to me to get all these details straight. So at this point, I have visited with the child face to face, and she's on Zoom. So I want her to know that when we say foster care, she's had a prior incident where she was in where she doesn't know people, and mental health services. That's not what we mean by foster care. So we had that time to talk. So I'm using my words considering that she's listening to. So in order for this child to stay where she is, which is a friend that she's had since early childhood, and I met the placement mother figure, to be removed technically from her parents, it isn't a removal that is against their wishes, but in order to get paid to this child some funded support, if we call this situation where the child lives where she is, if we call that a removal and a placement, there would be some benefits to the child, some driver's training, maybe she can get a car and insurance paid. So it isn't really a reflection on the parents. This review period, the parents had a tough time. They had some of their hardest times surface again with employment, with mental health, with housing. So they have helped us craft this plan for the child. So we would ask you to consider that her needs are being met in this placement. She feels that she's part of the family. She feels that they won't deny her access to her parents. She's having a little hard time with her mother relationship right this minute, but she's very close to her and her dad, very close to her dad. So the child wins all the way around if we place with this placement and then give us a review period at least to work on the form that it will take to stay. I think this child would benefit from independence programs. I don't know that the family would need funding. The placement family would need funding to be licensed, or if we can get funding without licensure. They've indicated that they have a pretty busy family and might not be interested in the components for funding for them for this placement, but only for the child to have access. If she's not technically in foster care, those funding sources don't open up for her. And she's very interested in, and we would also be able to support her in making her go to school if she decides she doesn't want to, but she is enrolled in virtual school. She has no barrier to getting that done. She has her eyes set on a lot of healthy things, and she's a very clear-eyed child. She doesn't look sleepy, like she didn't get her sleep. She feels respected in the home. The home placement indicated that if there were a disruption in the relationship between this child and her boyfriend, whose home this is, the boyfriend would be asked to find other accommodations because he's a legal adult. And that this child's placement would be maintained. Then that's the goal of the family. So I would ask for a review in 90 days, and this child's needs are being met in the current placement with the approval of the parents. Thank you.
Testimony today, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll call Ms. McVeigh.
Okay, come on up to our witness stand.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, proceed at will.
Thank you. Ms. McVeigh, you prepared a court report for today's hearing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The court report that I received includes a cover letter that was submitted on May 14th. Is that still the accurate cover letter that should have been submitted for today?
No, that must have been I must have attached the incorrect one.
That's okay. So what documents did you provide for today's hearing? Just so we're all on the same page, because the cover letter we have indicates that it's like all the ICWA documentation and things like that.
Oh, I apologize. I must have attached the wrong one. So there should be the court report, a case service plan for Sarah Lewis, a case service plan for Dustin Lewis, the power of attorney that I have obtained. And I believe that's it.
Okay, wonderful. Your Honor, if I may inquire from the attorneys if they have those documents, because the cover letter is inaccurate.
I do.
No objection.
That's what I have as well.
Okay, thank you. All right. Other than that, and Ms. McVeigh, are there any updates or modifications that need to be made to the report that you've provided today?
I don't believe so. I know I was just speaking with Miss Lewis, and she was talking about taking Peyton to the urologist tomorrow. So other than that, there's no additional updates.
Okay. I know that we've heard a little bit about there's been some struggles with the family during this review period, and it seems that you've worked pretty hard to safety plan with the family around those concerns. Just briefly, is there anything you want to highlight from your court report to explain what is happening and the department's recommendations?
At this time, the parents, like indicated in the court report, is I just discovered at the end of July that they were being evicted from their home, and they weren't able to get that extended until September, but the home that they have also has a really overdue electricity bill, so there's no electricity in the home. Miss Lewis has been struggling with her mental health. She is in the process of applying for disability, and she was hospitalized during this reporting period. There was a short period of time where Mr. Lewis was not on all of his medications, but he has since followed through with CMH and gotten everything all taken care of. So they both are following through right now on their CMH appointments. It's mostly the housing issue, and also there's an Peyton has also not been making it to counseling, and we were able to get that started finally on Monday. So she did make it 10 o'clock on Monday, and we were able to get her back in with the person that she was previously seeing, which I didn't think was going to be able to happen, but we got lucky. So that's really good for her to be able to go back to the same person. They did follow through with the trauma assessment. Mr. Lewis brought the child, and Miss Lewis was unable to come. She reported having a migraine. I do not have that report yet available. It's not completed, but it should be very soon.
And at this time, it seems that the parents are agreeable to a form of guardianship with the individual whom they've named in the power of attorney.
Yes,
Okay. And have you started that paperwork with them?
I have it with me. I just sent it to, this morning. I have almost everything done. And I just need some signatures, so I'll need to meet with the proposed guardian and the parents and go from there.
Okay. One of the things that was discussed during a sidebar was the fact that the court can review placement at each review hearing. And if placement is no longer appropriate, the court can change that placement. To the best of your knowledge, are there any concerns about if the court were to place the child or the youth in the care and custody of the department, would they then place the youth with the current agent under the power of attorney?
I know there might be some barriers to official foster care placement in the proposed placement that we briefly discussed. So I'm not, I guess, there was also some relationship issues and some housing issues that I wanted to address as well. So I'm not sure if that's gonna be, if we're gonna be able to approve that placement.
Okay. So if the court does believe that it's in the child's best interest to remove her officially from her home to place elsewhere, the court would need to make maybe a court order directed placement. And to help the court with that decision, can you just provide any information you have about those concerns that you
There,
just mentioned?
okay, so I did run clearances on everybody, all the adults in the home. That's not an issue. There is some CPS history with the proposed guardian, but a lot of it's old. And the one that's not so old, there was some concerns with another child in the home that is the same age as the child we are discussing, that I don't know where all that is at exactly. There's also the issue of that Peyton is in a romantic relationship with one of the household members.
And is it, to the best of your knowledge, is it the household's plan that if there were any disruption in that romantic relationship between the youth and her partner, that the partner then would be asked to leave the home?
The youth or I have not addressed that.
Okay. At this time, are there any other services or things that the department can help this family with?
No, I did recently make a Families First referral and that had to close because they were not participating.
And do you know the barrier to their participation?
I think it was just a lot of, they're in this big transition and have been struggling so much, and their housing situation. Other than that, I don't believe there's any other barriers. I know that both of the parents have been struggling with mental health issues as well.
Okay. All right, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to report to the court today?
I don't believe so.
Thank you. With that, Your Honor, I have no further questions of Ms. McVeigh. I move to admit the court report and the attachments.
Objections?
No objection.
No objection.
Thank you there. Received cross-examination, Mr. McFarland,
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Brooks.
Bottom line is, the plan is to send this child to the home she's already in right now under a guardianship. Is that correct?
That's the plan, yes.
Thank you. That's all.
Ms. Heiss.
So mom and dad were maybe even gonna be living in their car. It got that dire before they signed agreed for this child to stay permanently in this placement, correct?
Correct.
So, the child wants to be where she is.
Yes, she does.
And she's 16 years old, right?
Correct.
One of your concerns is that she doesn't have her own bedroom in this placement.
Yes,
Okay, and so we'd like some time to work on that.
yes,
Would you be supporting the visits with mom and dad, and also continuing to enforce in the next review period, no contact with, Mason at this time?
yes. And I do believe it depends on the order of the court. It may have transferred to a different worker.
Okay, so, do you have confidence that the current placement, if ordered, would keep the contact with Mason, agreement? No
Yes, she
contact.
did agree to that.
Do you know if we've had contact with Mason while she was in, the child was in parent care?
No,
Okay, all right, nothing further.
What's the name of the placement?
the proposed placement,
Yeah,
Destiny,
let me get there. Okay, now I'm right.
Destiny Borton,
Destiny.
Destine. Last name is Borton, Borton.
So I'm familiar with that family, and there are a couple of juvenile delinquency petitions. Are any of the children in that home currently under the jurisdiction of the court in the delinquency court, if you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Would that concern you if that were the case?
I just know, I mean, obviously, yes, but I do know that these people have been Peyton's safe people for years. And she feels very comfortable there.
All right. The family actually might be able to benefit more so from the involvement of the department. Would you be willing to look at whether or not there would be additional services that you could offer to support them in order to make sure that that environment is well suited for Peyton moving forward?
Yes,
Perfect. I appreciate that.
yes.
Is the because, I may be requesting a direct placement, Your Honor, may I follow up on your questions? Is the person that lives in the house that's the same age as our child here, the initial M?
No,
Okay, the person who lives in the house who's, do you know a person with an initial M? Malachi?
that's a different person.
Right, that person has 2 children that live in the house.
No, that's a different, that's a completely different household.
Thank you so much.
That is the friend, the safety plan friend. in-
Okay.
In the same city, so that's why maybe you got them mixed up.
Yeah, okay, thank you, I have no other questions.
Any other questions based on my questions?
Actually, one based upon the guardian litem's question.
Go ahead.
I know the guardian litem, I think she, maybe you said that the parents have maybe a permanency with this delegation of parental rights, but that's only 6 month period of time or no more than 2 times, right? Let me repeat, parents gave a delegation of parental rights, power of attorney.
Correct, yes, they did,
And that's revocable.
yes,
correct? And it's only good for 6 months at a time.
correct,
So it's not permanency, what they've done.
correct, that's why I'm recommending the guardianship.
Just clarification, thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. McVeigh?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you for your testimony. We return to seat. Thank you. Actually, I guess I do have one, but you can sit down.
Oh, okay.
For parenting time for our parents, is that something that you feel needs to be supervised moving forward, or
No.
should we continue with supervised and unsupervised combination?
I don't believe they would need to be supervised,
Just checking. All right, thank you.
especially because I know Miss Lewis plans on taking Peyton to the doctor tomorrow, and that's really important that that's able to happen, so.
Okay. All right, any witnesses, Ms. Thomas,
No, Your Honor.
Mr. McFarland?
My client indicates that she has some commentary, so I'd like to call her.
Okay, come on up to our witness stand, Ms. Sarah.
Great, very well. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
There's a step here, be careful.
You indicated to me that you would like to add something, correct?
Yes.
Well, this is your opportunity. What would you like to say?
I do believe that a guardianship is in her best interest. I know she's safe out there. If she wasn't, she'd be blowing up our phones, telling us, Mom, come get us. It's not okay, but she doesn't do that. She is in contact with us every day. We go out there multiple times a week because like we get paid or stuff like that. We come get her and we'll take her out to get all of her needs and she brings them back. She even asks for snacks all the time. So I'm like, load up the snacks, bring them over. She's very happy out there. She knows that she's very happy out there. She's very involved with the family. The other household, the Malachi, her 3-year-old daughter is Peyton's godmother. So Peyton's over there all the time playing with Malachi or the child. Sorry, I can't say anything. Playing with her. So Peyton is very happy and she is safe out there. So I'm completely okay with that.
Is that all you wanted to add today?
Yes.
Nothing further? We'll see if anybody else has questions.
Well,
Hang on,
Ms.
hang on.
Lewis. Does anyone else have any questions for Ms. Sarah Lewis?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
No,
You paid this child's cell phone bill.
Yes.
Are you able to continue to do that?
Yep.
Nothing further.
All right, thank you for your testimony. You may return to your seat. Witnesses, Mr. Brooks,
no, Your Honor.
Ms. Heiss,
No witnesses.
comments, then Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. I am a little unprepared for a good closing here, given our sidebar, and I haven't had the opportunity to discuss what that actually means from the department. At this time, if the court is inclined to do an official removal, I think that it is safest to do a directed placement with Ms. Thornton. It seems that the parents are agreeable to this. The department has already started to work on that guardianship paperwork. And so given that is a permanency planning hearing as well, maintaining the child in the home is no longer feasible given the hardship that this family has faced in this review period. And we would ask the court to modify that permanency goal to either a guardianship or APLA, which I think maybe a guardianship falls under. And with that, then set a 90-day review. Thank you.
Mr. McFarland?
My thoughts would mimic Joseph and Ms. Thomas.
Ms. Brooks?
Everybody's on the same page. They're all growing in the same direction, inside and outside of this family.
Thank you. Ms. Heiss?
Your Honor, I just want to clarify that power of attorney is, although it's a sign that the parents agree with this move, it is not operational while you have jurisdiction over the child. Thank you.
Thank you. The court finds all interested parties were given notice for purposes of today's review, hearing, and permanency planning hearing. I certainly find that reasonable efforts towards reunification are being made. Those will be ordered to continue in conjunction with the idea that we're going to be looking at permanency planning in the next report period. I really appreciate the parents demonstrating how well they really do care for their child by understanding that what's happening in their household is not serving Peyton at this time, that they need to overcome their own challenges, and that where Peyton is currently at under the temporary safety plan is going to be best for her moving forward. The court also agrees. I do find that those reasonable efforts that were explored on record today and contained in the court report do constitute reasonable efforts also necessary in order to prevent removal. The circumstances that required the safety plan and the safety planning and that temporary power of attorney also constitute reasonable efforts to prevent that removal. With the circumstances in the home right now, with the parents needing to focus on the challenges around their mental health care, securing a new residence, one with electricity, do prevent the child from residing there at this time. And they do, those circumstances alone would meet the test under Rule 3.965, wherein the court would look at removal, which is what is directed even in a post-adjudication removal. Those same findings would direct the court under a post-adjudication removal I am issuing a removal order in conjunction with today's review order, just to clarify for funding purposes, so that Peyton can also be supported in where she will be at. I find that there are no provisions or other services or arrangements available that would serve the needs currently in place for this family. And when I say that, I'm talking also about the idea that this is our second petition, that the circumstances in the home really need to be geared towards also providing a stable and permanent plan for Peyton moving forward. So where she's at is meeting her needs. It is safe for her to be there, and her parents also agree with that. So it will be the order of the court that Peyton is technically removed and is under the jurisdiction of the Department of Health and Human Services and the court in that legal capacity. I will also direct the placement in the home of Ms. Destiny Horton. I think that home can also benefit from the support of the department around some of the issues that I know that they're facing out there as well. So really, this is a welcome support for that household, in addition to the one that is under the court's jurisdiction in this particular file. So all of the parenting time has been addressed as well for the parents. They're going to continue supervised and unsupervised because that is also appropriate and supportive for the child at this time. They've already indicated continuing her residence in the home of her parents. Cannot serve her welfare at this time. Reasonable efforts, and that the conditions where she's currently at are adequate to safeguard her health and welfare. So that's what's happening moving forward. The Lewis family will continue to be supported by the department under their jurisdiction and supervision. Pending our next review and permanency planning hearing in this case, I will ask our caseworker to conduct a family team meeting on the options for permanency in the future, whether that's juvenile guardianship or probate court guardianship, whatever options best suit this family, as well as the funding options associated with those in the next report period. And if you could give us your notes on that meeting as part of next month's report or the next review report, that'd be great. Yes. Our next review and permanency planning hearing will be November 22nd at 11 a.m. Again, November 22nd at 11. And unless there's any questions, that's all for today.
Is it supervised or unsupervised?
Either one. So
Thank
I'm
you.
not making any changes to the idea of parenting time, because I think that's already been happening under the safety plan. So whatever's happening there, but the official order is supervised or unsupervised.
Thank
So
you.
we'll probably have to make a plan on that piece.
Do we have a good address for my client, Ms. Strauss?
Well, we'll take care of that in just one moment.